Right, so I was supposed to be going down the Great Ocean Road today on the bike, which is something I've always wanted to do. And as soon as I got on my bike this morning, it proceeded to start absolutely tipping down with rain, and as such I had to abandon it. So instead I've come into Melbourne city centre with Kate. Apparently there's some Korean dude who has a hairdresser here and he's like the only one who can do her hair properly. So let's have a look around Melbourne. So I guess we'll start here. I'm currently sitting in Federation Square, which is kind of the main touristy exhibition centre-y place in the middle of Melbourne city centre. To the right of the picture you have the iconic Flinders Street train station, and to the left, that really tall skyscraper you can see is the Eureka Tower, which is in fact the tallest building in the southern hemisphere. I think it's like 290 metres tall or thereabouts, so pretty big building. Anyway, the very top of that is actually covered in gold leaf. So yeah, I'd say that cost a few shillings. This is the River Yarra, which is the river that flows right through the centre of Melbourne. And this river actually does a pretty mad optical illusion. If you look at the picture there, you can see that the river is flowing from right to left on the screen. Except here's the mad thing about it. It actually isn't. Due to an optical illusion which is created by sediment in the water which is carried down from upriver, it actually looks like the river is floating backwards, because if we go over here, there in front of us, that's where the sea is. That's where the mouth of the river is. And as you can see, looks like it's coming towards us. Pretty cool, huh? That there in front of us is the Melbourne Cricket Ground, which is Melbourne's iconic stadium. It has a capacity of about 100,000 people. One of the world's great stadiums, definitely. Right, so this building here in front of me is the National Gallery of Victoria, which is one of the top art galleries in Australia. Stupid helicopter. Just gonna wait for that to pass. Man, I'd forgotten how noisy this place was. Anyway, like I was saying, one of the top art galleries in Australia. And it has a really cool water feature at the front, which I'm going to show you, because it's sort of a Melbourne icon, really. Not this fountain, although this fountain is pretty famous as well. Actually, a couple of years ago, I remember it made the news that a guy from my own neck of the woods got arrested for having a little swim in it at 2 o'clock in the morning once. Doing your country proud, son. I don't know if I'd want to swim in it personally. It smells kind of dank. Okay, if you look at the glass there, you can see that there's water streaming down it, and it's so cool the way they do it. I'm not sure how, in the name of God, they manage it, but it's like the water is just stuck to the glass and it never comes off. But as you can see, if I stick my hand in it there, it's clearly getting wet. Pretty mad. Very cool bit of installation art there. Right, now I'm going to go and show you how Victoria makes its money. It's a disabled corgi. He's so cute. So we're going down to the South Bank here, which is your standard kind of restaurant, pub, nightclubby area in the city centre. But oh, steps. Really cool views of the city centre too, as you can see. The tall building you see in the very left of your screen there is the oh god, what's the name of it again? Oh yeah, the Rialto Tower, which used to be the tallest building in Melbourne until they built the Eureka Tower. Actually, we're just near the bottom of the Eureka Tower, and just to give you some perspective on just how tall it is, that is one big building. There's actually a little bar under the bridge there, which is really cool. Really expensive though, bit of a tourist trap. Looks awesome all the same. Okay, you see the skyscraper kind of just left of centre of the screen. You can see the word Crown written on top of it. That is Crown Casino, and that one building alone, depending on what you read, is responsible for something like 10 to 15% of the entire state of Victoria's tax revenue. One building. That is insane. Just back around to the end of Flinders Street Station. I can't actually remember if I can get onto Flinders Street through here. We'll have a go anyway. The city centre in Melbourne is fairly spectacular looking, there is no denying it. As you can see, just there, it's yet another new skyscraper going up. They're absolutely flying up all over the city at the moment. It's growing pretty rapidly at present. According to the Australian Bureau of Statistics, it seems that the population of Melbourne has just hit the 5 million mark. It's a big town. One of the most famous things about Melbourne is its tram network. You can just see one going under the bridge there. It's pretty great that they still have the tram network all intact, as a lot of cities just ripped them up, like Sydney for example. There's one for you now. The old school trams that they used to use in the city are apparently up for sale at the moment, and seems like you can buy one for like $1,000 now. Cool. And right in front of us we have arguably the biggest blot on Melbourne's copybook. Speed cameras everywhere. Right, we're just going into Southern Cross Station, or Spencer Street Station if you're old school Melburnian, because I want to walk across to the Docklands and show you something mad that I saw on the news today. Oh, for God's sake. Escalators, people, are like motorways. You keep left unless you're overtaking. Okay, so I am now outside of Etihad Stadium, which is the other big stadium in Melbourne city centre. It's a pretty impressive building, has a retractable, I speak English good, roof and all that, and it's a pretty cool place. Been here a few times to see the AFL team I support, Carlton, usually lose, as is the way with Carlton these days. I also saw Pearl Jam here. They were very good, funnily enough. Anyway, you can just see the inside of it here. There we go. You can just let me adjust the focus. There we go. You can just see into the inside of it there. It's a pretty cool stadium. Anyway, this place has been in the news today for a very weird reason. Yeah, so the reason this stadium was in the news today was because, of all people, Disney have bought the naming rights. And they're actually going to use this to promote Marvel Comics. So this stadium, you see behind me, Etihad Stadium, is now going to be called Marvel Stadium. I'm really not sure how I feel about that. So we're just at the end of Etihad Stadium, just at the Docklands, and again, the view is pretty good, isn't it? That's the Bolty Bridge in the background, which is one of the two big bridges over the River Yarra, and you can just see all of the apartment complexes in the Docklands there. Most of this stuff started being built in, I think, in the like 90s as part of urban regeneration project that was designed to revive the, at the time, ailing Docklands. While all of the buildings look really cool and all that, personally I find it really soulless, and would say that there's more atmosphere on the Moon, just full of yuppie apartments. Amazing scenery though. Not bad, is it? I'm pretty sure that at least half of those buildings you see in front of me have gone up since I left here 3 years ago. The city is growing like a weed. 5 p.m. rush. Few trains around at this stage, isn't there? Okay, let's go back into the city centre. I need me a burger or something. For those of you who watch Lucky Luke Rides videos, he's clearly opened a cafe in Spencer Street in Melbourne. Just walking up King Street in Melbourne city centre now, which has the highest concentration of titty bars anywhere in the known universe. Not the sort of place you'd probably want to spill someone's drink at night either. Gets a little bit seedy. Thankfully, I'm not stopping here. Nice Lamborghini. Although, to be honest, I'd probably prefer this Grom. Melbourne's also well known for its laneway cafes. I'm just going to do a dodgy here. So there's alleyways like this all over the city, which are full of restaurants, cafes, bars, all that sort of stuff. Really cool places to eat. Definitely a good city to go out for a night, even if it is expensive as shit. Yeah, not a bad city, this one, is it? Skyscrapers look even cooler at night with all the lights. Oh, it's not night yet, but it's definitely starting to get dark. I like as well how they have all of these older buildings like that church here in with all of the newer ones. Makes it look really cool, I reckon, and it's nice that they're keeping all of the older stuff and not just demolishing everything for skyscrapers. It's definitely a good city, this. Anyway, folks, that is it for my little walking tour of Melbourne for you. I'm going to sit here and eat my dodgy shopping centre pizza in a city that is full of some of the best restaurants you're ever going to find. Good luck.